Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to show you how I made these crochet box braids. I'm going to show you how I made the braids itself and how I installed it on myself. I'll show you the pattern I used to achieve a very versatile look so that you can pack the hair up in the bun and have multiple side parts and center parts. So watch and see how I achieve this. So I used two different colors for this style. I used color 1B and color 30. I didn't want to have totally ginger hair or totally black hair, and I had it lying in my house for a bit, so I decided to mix it to get this. So it's very important for you to separate your hair into sections before you start, because to make the process very manageable. I tried using elastic band because I need to make the braid on a rope. So I tried using elastic band, but it didn't work. But so I saw that this chunky yarn worked better for what I wanted to achieve, and I would advise you to use something that doesn't have any elasticity in it. Most of the process of this braid is very self-explanatory, and the good thing about you making your own braid is that you can determine the size, you can determine the color, you can determine the length you want. So I did mine to be like my bum length. That's what I wanted. So to do this, you loop your braiding hair behind the yarn or the wool and divide it into three and make a very standard braid. So you also determine how full you want the hair to be with the number of braids you make. So that's why I said this hair is very versatile. At the same time, you can also just go to Amazon and buy the already made braid, which will save you much more time. But for me, I had this braiding hair in my house. In fact, I had it since my previous accommodation and I had not used it, and then I decided to make my hair late in the night, so I just made do with what I had at home. I used a number of tools and products to make this hair, and I made the list of those in the description. So if you see me using any products, just check in the description and you'll see a link to Amazon so you can have a better look at what I am using. So I left some part of the braid undone so that I can curl it at the end, and then I use my scissors to trim the braid just to make it look a bit smoother and neater. This is a close-up look of how I start the braid, and one mistake I made was making the braid too close to the yarn or wool, however you want to call it. So it was a bit tricky, it was a bit hard to pull it off the yarn when I wanted to install it on my hair, but it wasn't too bad. So if I were going to do this hair again, that's one thing I'm going to change. I will not make it too tight or too close to the yarn, so that it will be very easy to make the braid. So after making the braid, I started partitioning my hair. So I split my hair into 3 sections, so across from ear to ear and then middle parts. So it's very important to do this because it makes your hair really manageable and you can easily clip your hair away. I'm using my tail comb to make the very clean parts. At this point, I just finished washing my hair. I did a hot oil treatment, so you can see my curls are very well defined. I had not had time to do this in over a year because of work and all, but I was happy that I was able to do my hot oil treatment, and I was really happy to see that my curls are still there. So I'm making my middle parts, and on each side of that middle part I'm going to have 6 rows, and then I'm going to further divide those 6 rows into 4 boxes on the sides for the first 5, and then 5 boxes on the middle the middle part. So you will see what I mean. So the main thing is just trying to divide it and hold your hair away, because when you're making your hair for yourself, the most annoying thing is when you're trying to do something and some strange strands of hair just decide to join the party when they're not invited. So you have to find clips to our hair or hair bands to hold the hair away. After splitting the hair into 6 or as many rows as you want, you use your duck clips, or I use my duck clips to separate the 6 parts or the 6 rows that I created, just to help the process to remain manageable. With this first row, I'll show you what not to do. I made 3 individual braids, but what I was supposed to do was to make the first one, link it to the second one, make the second one, and then link it to the third one. That's what I did for the rest, but it took me a while for my brain to click that I'm doing the wrong thing. So I had already done 3 single braids before I realized. So this first row is what not to do, and then the rest of the hair, you see that I made the correction and did that for the rest of the hair. So this is what you should do now. So I had to come back when I was done to redo that first row I made a mistake in. So what you should do is to make your braid. So how I did mine was to make like 5 steps of braid and then twist out the rest of the hair. This makes it very easy for you to unravel the hair, because it's quite hard to unravel just 3-strand braids, especially if you have very thin hair like mine. The main point of this style of making any crochet style or crochet pattern is to make sure that it is flat against your scalp, so that it will be as close to your scalp as possible, so that it will be very seamless style and it won't look too bulky. And I don't have that problem because my hair is very light, it's like feather so I don't have that problem. But still, I made my boxes small so that my hair, the braids will appear fuller on my hair. So as you can see, I made the first braid, connected it to the second box, made the second braid, and now I'm connecting it to the third box. Going like further down the video, you will see me doing it in a very detailed way. Now my hands are blocking what I'm doing, but going down you see how I did it close up and more details. So for row 5 I made 4 boxes, and then for row 6 I made 5 boxes. So the main aim of this is to make the cornrow as flat as possible so that it won't look very bulky. So this is the my middle part. So that's the 6th row. So I've split it into 5 boxes, and I use the same technique. I think on this row it's the one where you can see the technique I'm using properly. This is the last braid for this section of my hair, and then I went back to the first row to correct my mistake that I made there, and then so I did the same thing I did for this first part to the second part of my hair. To make the hair very versatile, I'm going to make single braids around the circumference of the hair so that when I pack it up in the ponytail, it will look like actual braids. So after I make the single braids, I'm going to join it to the cornrows I'm going to make at the back of the hair. So one question I usually get is, how do I look? How can I see the back of my head? For now, because I use an Apple Watch, I'm able to like see my camera from my wristwatch. Before now, I used 2 mirrors, one mirror at the back, propped up, and then another mirror in front. And I'll position it in a way that I can use the front mirror to see what my back mirror is seeing. There are also like 3-way mirrors you can get on Amazon. It's also linked in the description box below. What I'm doing now is getting one cornrow from the front section and making a cornrow towards the back. Or I am adding in the single braids that I made along the circumference of my hair. So we've made the cornrow at the back. Now we are installing the braids that we made. So I'm going to slow this down for you to see what I'm doing. So I have one braid that I've passed through the crochet, and then I took the crochet and passed it under the cornrow I have made, and then pick the tail of that same braid I have and put it in the open and close part of the crochet, and then pass everything through. I'll do the same thing for my entire hair. So the main thing is to make sure that each braid you're crocheting into your hair is positioned in the middle of each box you have created, because that's the whole point of making the box, so that it will look like the braid is coming from the middle of each box. So I did that for the front part and the perimeter of the hair, and then for the back I just did whatever I wanted to do. I just made sure I filled in all the gaps so that if I'm dropping my hair down, everything is covered. So when you finish installing everything, now I'm putting the hair mousse in here. Of course, the hair mousse I use is linked in the description box below, and I'll just put it on my palm and pass it through my hair. It just helps the hair to look all the flyaways to make it look sleek. You should also use hair mousse. You should also have hair mousse if you ever braid your hair, even if you don't braid your hair yourself, even if somebody else braids your hair for you. It's always good to have hair mousse in your house, because when the hair is starting to have flyaways, you can easily put it on and it gives it some more life. For my edge control, I use a dark edge control. So it's called Hold and Cover Edges by African Pride. It's also in the description box. And why I use this, because I have very light hair, so it makes the hair look a bit darker, so it gives the illusion that it is a bit fuller. That's why I use it, and I really recommend it. If one advice I have as from a hairdresser is, no matter the hairstyle edge control you use, if you don't tie it down, it's not going to last. So if you use any edge control, make sure you tie it down, and then you can get on with your day, getting ready for work or getting ready for school. And by the time you're ready to go out of the house, then you take it, whatever you used to tie it down, most likely silk or satin is best, it's more preferable. And then by the time you're ready to go out, you're done, like your edges are laid and everything. But this was like 2 a.m, so I knew I was going to bed from here, so I didn't need to tie it down. So yeah, I'm just showing you how you can style the hair. You can do half up, half down. You can pack the whole hair up. It's very, very easy to style braids. That's one benefit of having braids on. So thank you all for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.